Okay, welcome to this video. As I promised, here is the video that explains how I did the text analysis using natural language processing and some external APIs. I hope you find the video useful and help you with other analysis, and please share with me your feedback and we will see how we can improve this process. The challenge, as you know, with the open-ended responses for a survey or a text is usually difficult to analyze, and it takes people a lot of time to going through the text and reading it and summarizing it and looking for important information inside that. And as human, we make errors, so it takes really lots of time. And the more and the larger the data is, the more challenge we face. A combination of human and machine will produce better results. The machine can automate things, and human can look at things that machine maybe cannot do. The process we will go through in terms of our analysis, we will go to the questions that are open-ended questions one by one. So for each questions, we will do a number of things. One, we'll remove the stop words. Stop words, as you know, those we use a lot in our communication, and like about, is, are, my, his, whatever things. Those things we use a lot in our language, and it makes the sentence long, and they are not the focus of our analysis. We're looking at the core terms or phrases or words that been used in the language. So we need to remove those type of words from our analysis. Then we need to create a frequency table. It's a dictionary that has each word and how many times it appeared in the answer for that questions by all participants who answer the questionnaire. Maybe you have millions of people, or you have only few of people did that. So by going through their answers to that questions and finding these words that are used and how many times each word have been used, and that will give you indication of people interested in that topic or phrase or word or component that you're looking at. And then we draw the word cloud. We have done that one before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on the word cloud because you have done it. And then the next thing which we will be the focus today of our work is how we break down those sentences to smaller sentences. So we take the whole comment, the answer of those 100,000 people for that questions, and break it into sentences. Sometimes people do not really use proper sentence, and sometimes they add so many sentences in one comment or one feedback, and then you need to break it into one by one and look at the value of each sentence on its own and compare it to the rest of the sentences. So we're going to break the whole answers or response or comments provided by everyone for that question into smaller sentences. And then we'll go for each sentence, look at a number of things. Assign a score to every sentence based on the words that make that sentence, and based on how many times that word has been repeated or those words have been repeated, and doing a calculation and finding the value of every word in that sentence, adding it together and creating an overall weight for that sentence. Basically, if the people all talking about the same subject and same topic, same word, that word means important to them. So those sentences that using the words that most of the people are using are more common to your participants. So now we're getting narrowed down into what is important really for our participants in that survey or on that document. And then building a data frame, we're using pandas of every sentence and the weight of that sentence, and sorting it descending, so the higher number comes up, so the sentence that has a higher weight will come up, and the one that has less will go down. So now we're rating our sentences in a way. Then we will be using an external service, which something may be debatable. Some people will like it, some people maybe will not. But there is external service by AYLIEN, which really very powerful. You connect to a JSON API, and then it sends you back some data. So you pass to it your participants' responses, and then they will analyze it and give you a sentiment of the feeling of your participants. Are they negative about the idea, or positive, or neutral? And then also they can provide you with additional things like the keywords being used, the people or organization mentioned in that discussion. So you can use that one and do your further analysis. So we will be using the external API, and the good thing about it, you will find you will know how to now to connect to an external API from Python and do the process you would like to do. Then we'll create a summary table for each questions. We'll put the weight, into the average of the weight, the median, standard deviation, and sentiment that came from AYLIEN service. So we'll do that. Now, in terms of the design, the way I design this code is a very simple design. I have an initialization cell, which initialized all the importing, and then also connect to the CSV file and break that data frame into 3 sets. You will see it later. So that's the initialization. The next one, I created a function called eText, which basically the objective of that function is it receives a list from my data frame. Say the list is question 1, the answers for question 1s or comments or feedback provided as a list, and then make it one large text. Challenge, if you pass it as a list as it is, the list, the sentences or the rows will not be a complete text. Pandas tends to show you some characters, and then the rest of the sentence will not appear. When you put them all in one text, then you will have everything. So basically, I will create a text variable and add all those feedback one by one for that questions in one large text. So I have one large text that I can use. So that function, anytime I need, I just pass to it my list, and it will create for me one variable that I can work with. The next thing, we have a function to draw a word cloud. It requires the text that you're passing or the data, and then based on the text you pass to it or the data, it will go and draw for you the word cloud. It's a very simple one to do. The next one is the one we're using, the external service. So we're using a service from AYLIEN website. They provide you with free subscriptions for certain number of calls or requests to their service. If you want more, you can use more. But they have really powerful services. They're using machine learning and some artificial intelligence, which you can look at their website and see what you can do. So we'll send to that one the text we have for every question, and they will send us back a JSON format that include this sentiment, the keywords, and the other things which we can extract from that whatever we want to extract. Then the main code, which manages everything, and it does all the processes. So it calls a QS sentiment, it calls the word cloud, and it also calls the eText and calls different things and receive different parameters. And it has a little bit of more details code of doing the natural language processing. The natural language processing all happening in the main code or main cells that we have. You will see it and you will find all the details. Now these are the packages we're using. We're using pandas because we're reading from a comma separated file, writing back to Excel file. We're using JSON because you're connecting to external services. We're using docs, which allow us to create a Word document file and store our data, the outcome of our analysis in the Word document file. And then there you will see how we do that process. We will use natural language toolkit. We use URL lab because we're connecting to external. We're using word cloud, and we're using PS4 because we some reading to external, so we need to remove some of the information that we do not need. So we need to create beautiful soup, they call it. Okay, these are the references. When I created this one, I looked at all this and it helped me a lot to create my solution. And I'm sure if you go there, you will find additional information that will help you to do some more of this. Of course, you need to make your adjustment. You need to understand and debug and fix some of the issues you may face, because they're using different data set or using different way of looking at the analysis. But they are very useful. Okay, now let's go to the code and go through the whole thing. Before you see the code, I will show you the end result. So what you will get at the end. So here is where I'm having everything. Our code will generate for us few things. One, it will generate a document, Word document like this, which includes all those word cloud for every question. So this is the first question, what works currently well, and that word cloud for it. The other one doesn't work well, and this one. And then you get a word cloud for every questions you have, and that comes in a Word file. We can format it, we can do many things to do that one. The other thing we will get is this Excel file. Let me open it, and using Excel. And this Excel file has so many sheets, sheet 1 to sheet 10. I have 10 open unended questions, so each one will have a 1. You need little bit to format it, like for example, it'll come here and wrap it up like this, and then you'll find it has the statement by my participants, and then the weight for that statement, and then it goes into all of those statements and give everyone is a weight. So maybe I can decide to look at the top 10 or top 15 or whatever. That will narrow down my analysis, instead of looking at so many things that are not weighted high down. And this is the same for all of them. For every questions, you will get the same thing. So this weight will be an indication to do. You will have this summary here, which we have for every question we have. You will get the average, median, standard deviation, and sentiment. Okay, so that the two things the system will generate for you, and you can use it now to start writing your report. I'm not focusing on the type of questions that are easy to analyze, that like the quantitative data. This can be analyzed usually automatic by the analysis the survey software, and that's not issue because you have agree, disagree, and stuff like that. The whole data set is here, and it has 27 columns and many of these rows, but I'm focusing only on those 10 open-ended questions that I would like to analyze. So let's jump into the code and then try to go through the code. These are the packages I'm importing. You know why pandas? I'm importing pandas, JSON, because I'm talking to external API that will send me data in JSON format. And if you don't know JSON, you can find lots of resources there. Connecting to URL. This is the word cloud one, the matplot for drawing and chart and things like that. Docs is the one that I use to create documents. Word document, and they have number of also others that services or packages you can functions you can do. BS4 will clean for me the JSON and create for me something more clean. The NLTK is the NLTK Natural Language Toolkit, which I need, and then from that I importing specific function or sets or lists called stopwords, and then importing certain functions for tokenizing or breaking down the text into smaller token, or the words into smaller into words. And then I'm just setting the warning off or ignore it, so I don't get lots of warning on the screen, which I know why it is. And when I did the analysis, I noticed that there are few stopwords are not there into the original stopwords. I extended them by adding my own list here. You can expand this one, add any word that you want to ignore from your analysis, and then you can add comma and continue. Then you extend it, it becomes part of your keywords, so they will be ignored from the analysis. Here I'm reading the CSV file and then breaking it into 3 parts. The first 2 parts are more quantitative data, which can be analyzed outside the system. I had some code to analyze it, but I noticed why I'm doing that, because I already have the analysis for those, which part 1 and part 2. Part 3 is the open-ended questions where I'm focusing on. So I looking at columns from 20 to 30 and 29, and these are the list of columns that I will focus my analysis on. So this is the initialization part, which importing things, reading and expanding my stopwords by adding some additional stopwords. By the way, the stopwords comes from here. This is the original stopwords, and then I start adding to it additional stopwords. Okay. Now here are the functions. This is the first function, which basically received a list of questions or a question list. That question has multiple users feedback as a list, so it merged together in one call text. So I have a text here, and it goes through that list one by one, drop any NA. Some of the participants will not provide the answer for that question because it's optional, so that will be removed, and then convert that to a string and adding it to the text and create a larger one. After it does that one, it goes and do some other cleaning. I noticed some of my participants are leaving 2 spaces, white spaces after a sentence without having a dot there. A dot, then 2 spaces. So what I said, if there's a case like that, 2 spaces, and then you go through, add 2 spaces, dot, things like that, and trying to clean. And then if there are 2 dot, some people put 2 dot, then I change it to 1 dot, and things like that. So this cleaning, and you can look at your data and see what you really need to clean there, and you start changing this one to make it fit. Then the function will return the clean text, which I hope it's clean text, return it back to the caller function. The show word cloud is another simple one. It receives a data, which basically the text coming from that function, and what it does, and it can receive a title, it's optional, but what it does is use another function, word cloud, that receive that you can set some parameter like the background color, the stopword that you need to use, the maximum words will appear in that, and these are parameters you set there. And once you set it there, you plot it as a figure. You create a figure, you decide the size of your figure, 20 by 20. You disable the access titles, and then if there is a title, you add the title. If the caller sent a title, then you add it. If not, no. And then it goes and show it. Now here, these 2 lines are important. One is we saving the image that we created into a file, and I gave it the name. The next one now, I'm adding it to the Word document. My Word document, I have a variable called document, which I have it in the main down here. I'll come to the main. Sorry, this is the main, and you can see document equal document. So this document will be used to send the file, add picture to that document. I give it a size I want it to appear. So this basically will go to the Word file and add the image there, the image of the word cloud. It appears in the Word file. The next one is the sentiment that I'm using from the external API. This is the you need an application ID, which you didn't see my ID here. So but you need to go and register with the AYLIEN website, and they will give you an ID, application ID. You can add it here. It will give you a key. You add the key here, and that will help you get ready to do. And then there is a function here which does the call. You're calling external API, so you need to send something called endpoint. Endpoint, if you go to their website, they will tell you what are the endpoint. For example, the one I'm using here is sentiment. And then I'll be passing the endpoint as sentiment and adding some parameters to that as well. So it will go and call, connect to the URL. This is the URL. And then it will create a header for my call. The header will have those parameters. The application ID will come from here. The application key will come from here. The rest are the same, they will not change. And then it will have an opener that will connect to the link. Here is the request will be sent there as URL, as parameters, and encoding. The encoding depends on the text that being used in your document to do that. You will get a response, and then that response you go and break it, send it back to the caller function. So you send it as a JSON, and you need this line to do that. So basically now if you call this function and provide it with endpoint and parameters, it will go and find you a JSON file that represent the outcome and send it back to the caller. Now the caller need to open that JSON file and look at what information they want from that call, and that will happen here. So here we just creating the parameters using our text. So we get the clean text by using eText function, which we have here, you know it, this one. So we'll send to that function our text here, and then we'll call the function call API, which this function we have here, by providing the endpoint with sentiment and providing the parameters, which are, this is the parameter. Parameters basically the text you want to analyze. So you're sending the text you want to analyze, then it will return. So this function now, we will get back from the caller sentiment, and then that sentiment you need to look inside it. It's coming as a JSON. One of the things inside it is polarity, and there's something called keywords and something else. You go to their website, you will find all the different data that will come inside the JSON. So I need the sentiment, which polarity here, and I take that polarity and use it for my data. So this will come as just saying either negative, positive, or neutral. The value you will get from this one of these three, either negative, positive, or neutral. It is the feeling of your participants while they're giving the answer. Usually it look for negative words and positive words and add a calculation and say, oh, the overall sentiment on that statement is positive or it's negative. Yeah, but your further analysis by looking at sentence by sentence will give you a better picture than just this. Good. So that's the second half. This is the last one now, the last part of our analysis. And again, this is the main function that does everything. So this main function starts by creating an object of type document to use it to store the data. It uses another one called writer because I'm writing back to a new Excel file. So using pandas, write Excel write. So I'm writing the result back to the Excel file. And then I'm taking the questions from that, part 3. Remember, I'm focusing only on part 3, which from 20 to 30, and then taking the columns of that. And the columns will be my questions for my client. Then converting those questions into another pandas data frame. I call it ST, which is statistic or whatever you call it. And that basically taking the questions from the list coming here, converting it to ST, and giving it a column called questions. And then I'm adding some additional columns here, adding average, adding median, adding standard deviation, all zeros, and adding sentiment as text, empty text. So now I have, if you display ST, you will find all the questions coming in one row. Then there are columns in one column, and there are another 4 columns, or 3 with 0. One is average, median, standard deviation, and the last one is sentiment, which has nothing in. Okay, so this I'll use it for my final statistics. This part will build for me this one here. See, this one here, it's built using that. Basically, it has all the questions, and then it will have average. For at the moment, it's all zeros, but now it will start changing based on my analysis. So now I add I equals 0, and why I have add I equals 0? Because basically, where is the other sheet? Basically, I have here sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. I want to create the sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So if I have I is 0, once I have all the data and I want to write it to this Excel file, I can add to it sheet plus I, and I should have been incremented by 1, and then 2, then 3, and goes like that. So this is why I need this I here. Then I'm going through the questions one by questions. Those are the 10 questions. Q for Q in questions. So Q the first time is the first question, second time the second question, and so on. Now first I'm creating a text by passing my question text, part 3 question, into my eText function, which you know what, it's on the top there. And this will produce for me a one large text. Then sending that text into the function called word tokenize. And word tokenize will break it down into separate words. So we'll have a list of words that inside words. So words will be a list of words. So breaking those into words. And then creating a new dictionary, empty dictionary. I call it, we call it frequent table. And frequent table has nothing now. It's a dictionary, and if you don't know a dictionary, you need to look at it. Dictionary is similar to the list, but they have brace at the beginning, at the end, and it has variable and then colon, and then the value. We can look at that later when we get into this. Sorry for that. Now we'll go through this words list. Now I have my question answers are in words, not in a sentence. So I go word by word for word in words, and then we'll make it a lowercase each word, because I don't want to have a situation where I have a word start by a capital letter and the same word is there, it's lower letter. Then they look at it as two different words. Put them all lowercase and then work with that. Now, if that word is one of my stop words in my stopboard, then don't do any calculation, leave it, ignore that word, and continue. But if it is if the word in the frequent table, if the word is in the frequent table, frequent dictionary, this one, we started empty here. If the word is already exists in that frequent table, then increment its value by 1. Say this is repeated already, so it's already there. So then now it should have the value 2, not value 1. But if it is the first time that word is appearing into frequent table, then it should have in value 1. So, and every time you find the same word which already in the frequent table, its value will be incremented by 1. So first time it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So this is basically goes word by word and see how many times that word being used into the sentence or into the response to that questions, and increment. So the words that used a lot, they will have a higher number as a value. Okay, so this is going through word by word. Now we are not that far from the end, so don't be tired. The next one is doing the sentence. So we take the text, the original text, and break it into sentences. So it will be a number of sentences. And we will create a dictionary, empty dictionary. We call it sentence value. Has nothing inside that. What we need to do now, we need to go sentence by sentence and find the sentence that has the highest number of words that been used by the customers, and calculate the value of that sentence or the weight of that sentence, and then add it to that sentence, and then go to the next sentence and do like that. So what we're doing, we're saying for sentence and sentences, then for index and word value in frequent table. So for the frequent table, every element in that frequent table, find what the word value. The word value is the actual word being used, okay, and the index where it is into the list, okay, and then for index and word value in frequent table, and we'll start by 1 because the first one is nothing because we're just starting. 0 just starting. So now we go inside every one. We say if the word value, if the value of that word we're looking at now in the sentence, it's already exists in the sentence. So that word is already exists in the sentence. If it is already exists in the sentence and the sentence already exists into the sentence value, into this dictionary, the sentence is already there. What we do, we increase the value of that sentence by the value of that word. So frequent table word value. So we increase the value of the sentence. Sentence at the beginning value is 0. Now we give it 1. We find a word that value is 7. So that sentence become now value is 7. And then if I go again and find different things, so I keep adding until because I'm doing all the sentences. I keep adding, going through whole words for every one and checking that sentence and adding, increasing the value of the sentence by 1. But if it is the first time we're doing that, then the value of that sentence will be the value of that word. If this is the first time I'm looking at that sentence, then the value of that will be the value of the word. And this will continue and adding numbers to every sentence, which indicate the total value of that sentence or weight of that sentence. And then we'll have a full dictionary with sentence and the value of that sentence. Okay. Now what I'm doing here, I just started looking at some calculations to do that. So again, looking at the sentence value and the items and trying to create a new list. I have a dictionary list and I went through that one and adding those to the new dictionary list to create a full dictionary list for me, which include all basically I'm converting my dictionary normal into list, or a dictionary list. And this way I can come with a dictionary list. Why? Because it's easier to convert list to pandas data frame than converting a normal dictionary to pandas data frame, especially we have those 2 dimensions type of dictionary. Now coming here, creating my summary table. Okay, so I'm coming with the summary one, a new variable called summary, which will be my summary, which here, this is the summary I have. I want it to become a data frame, pandas data frame. So I used the pandas data frame, changing the dictionary that I converted, dictionary list, the original sentence value dictionary, I made it into dictionary list. And now I'm using the dictionary list to create a new pandas data frame. I'm passing dictionary list and adding 2 columns, one called statement and one called weight. As you can see, this one has, sorry, I am here. It has the statement and has the weight. So this is the one I'm looking at now. So I'm doing this. So I create one that take the dictionary list with the list of all my statements and their weight, and made them into a pandas summary data frame. Okay, then I'm sorting it by the weight and using ascending false, means I'm sorting it like descending. So it becomes the higher value comes first, and then once I did that, I increased I by 1. Now I need to write to the Excel file. So I'm writing my summary to the Excel file, to Excel. I'm using the writer, which I used up there, and then sheet plus string I, so that will be 1. So sheet 1. This will, first time will be sheet 1, second time will be sheet 2, sheet 3, and continue. And that's done for every sheet. So this all sheets will be generated using that code. Okay. Now I need to look at the summary one, which this one now. Yeah. So I'm coming here into that and saying, I call it ST. So sorry, I'm mixing the thing. ST for me is this one we call here summary, which I'm presenting to the user as a summary, and summary is every sheet of this is a summary. Yeah, for that sheet. So hope you not get confused. This is ST. So my ST here is I'm changing the average value. You remember I put the average value is 0 here. Okay, now I need to change that average value to the new value for that question. So I'm focusing only on that questions. ST questions equal Q, because now I'm dealing only with Q. And then I'll do calculate the mean, or the average, and round it by 2. So this basically use the summary table of that sheet. So I'm looking at it sheet by sheet now, and finding the mean and adding it to my statistics. So basically it goes to sheet 1, okay, find their average of this one, and then go and store it for me here in this place. Good. And then the same thing for the median, same thing for standard deviation, and same thing for sentiment. The sentiment, I need to call that function up I have for sentiment. Okay, I call it, I pass to it the part 3q. It does some calculation and bring back to me negative, positive, neutral, what it is for that question. And then writing document add paragraph q, and basically just writing to my document the question, and then calling the word cloud as well to draw the word cloud. So I'll get this file here, which I have to show you now again. This file will be created. It will have the question and then the word cloud. So the question is coming from this line, adding a paragraph, which is the question, and then adding the word cloud by calling the function word cloud, which automatically generates for me writing to the document. And that's good. Now I'm done with every single sheet and calculated my overall ST as well. Then I come here and write the overall ST to another sheet, call it summary. And this is, if I call it ST here to be consistent, and then this one will appear in my Excel as ST, not as summary. Yeah, so to be consistent. So we'll keep it like that. So we'll call it write to ST, and then write to the Word document. And that's all what I need. So let's run the whole code now. Run all and see what will be created. So it's done drawing this one, all of them being drawn, and it's still doing something, So these last two you don't need, but I just added them there too because I wanted to show you the dictionary later. But we're still running. No, it's finished. So if I go here and now I find, if I look at this, see the files, this one is just created now, it's 525 been created, and this one also created the same time. And if I open this one, I'll find these are the same thing. If I open the other one, which this, now you will see, if this one comes in, open with Microsoft, and then you'll, it's already maybe opened somewhere. Let's close this one. Don't do this, please. Do I have already? Oh, here is it. Here is it. Now this is the other one I already have. Close this one. Okay, now we'll open it again. And you can see now this is the new one which just created, and you can see at the end here, if we go to the end, it's now ST, not whatever we used to have before. So basically that's what we have done. If we want just to summarize, if we go here is what we have. So in terms of process, this is the process which we did. And in terms of the functions, these are the functions we have in place and packages we use, and these are the resources. So thank you. I hope you find the video useful, and my apologies if I didn't make it clear, but send me your feedback. Thank you.